Hi, my name's Samara, and this morning I'm going to share my testimony with you about how Jesus saved me and brought me out of darkness into light. Where to begin? When I was about 8 years old, my dad became a Christian. Prior to this, I never really had any Christian influence in my life or any religious influence at all. My mum wasn't a Christian either, so at that point it was sort of the first time that I'd ever heard anything about Jesus or anything at all. It was my first introduction to anything of the sorts, and sort of my whole life I've always been a very sort of emotionally aware person, and I remember from a really young age having a really sensitive conscience, and I was always very sensitive not only of the way other people felt but myself, and a very strong sense of right and wrong. Like when I would do something that I knew was wrong, I felt bad for it and my conscience would bring it up, and so I kind of really, I guess, was aware of this but didn't really know what it was for my whole life until I started to sort of learn about God. When my dad became a Christian, we started going to a local church, but at this stage I was pretty young and I was sort of just piecing together different things, and I didn't have a good understanding at all of really anything. I just kind of believed God was some mystical, far off person or being thing. But yeah, as I got older, I sort of, with whatever idea I did have, I started to drift away from it and was thinking, I don't really need this Jesus. I don't really need God. I don't need to live my life according to what he has said, because I knew that in the Bible, the Lord commanded that we were to follow him and live our lives in relationship to him. Although I didn't see the beauty in it. I couldn't see that I needed it at that stage. So as I became a teenager, I started to just reject it, mostly internally, because from the outside, I think a lot of people thought, oh, you're such a good kid, and I came along to church and I played the game sort of thing. But I wasn't honoring God as Lord in my heart at all. And as I got older, into my sort of 14, 15, 16, I started to really turn away from God, and I was just pursuing my own life by the way I wanted to live it, and thought that was the way to go, and started to get more into particular sin, trying to seek fulfillment and satisfaction, and peace. But as I did that, no matter how much I did it or thought that momentarily, like, yes, I would get some pleasure or satisfaction, it would always pass away and fail. And my conscience was still very strong, and as I was doing that, I knew deep down that it was wrong, and that wasn't going to bring me peace, that wasn't going to bring me satisfaction or fulfillment. But it sort of took all that time to really, looking back, the Lord was just breaking me down and humbling me. And when I was about 15, 16, that stage, I was really deep in anxiety and depression, and just could not see the purpose of life and living, because I was rejecting God, and my methods and my striving was not working. It would last a little while, but I felt really empty, and I constantly was aware of all the wrong I'd done in my life, and I so deeply wanted peace and relief and assurance, that because I knew that when I died, that wasn't the end. It was just, I just kind of always knew that, and I knew from what I learned in church that when I died, I was going to stand before God, and it really terrified me, to be honest, to think that when I died, God would have everything I'd ever done would be shown, and I knew that I had been living in rebellion and turning against him. So I knew that if I were to die in my sin, then I would be justly punished and condemned for that, because I had chosen that, and I had chosen to reject him. So yeah, it really got to a point at the end of 2019 when I was just so deep in that depression and anxiety and fear of death, because I was afraid of God and the just judgment I knew that I deserved. And then I guess that's where it comes in, where how I heard about Jesus, although it wasn't the first time I'd heard about him, because I heard about him in church. But I was actually scrolling on TikTok, believe it or not, this app that's really big in the younger generations. It's pretty silly to scroll around on it, but I was scrolling one day and I came across a video of this young guy who was my age talking about some sort of like political, cultural issue, and I remember listening thinking, oh, like he really sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So I went onto his page, and it turned out he was a Christian, and it was super startling to me, because I'd never seen a young person who was a Christian so willingly bold about their faith. And he had just video after video about the gospel and Jesus, and why we need him and all of these things. And it was really startling to me, because I thought that young people who were Christians were only Christians because their parents told them to, and told them to go to church. But I started watching his videos and saw like he really loved God, and there was something different about him, and he really cared about every person that came across that video. He cared about where they were going when they died, and whether or not they knew Jesus. And so with the combination of me being just in that pit, and then seeing these videos and hearing it, that was when the Lord started to open my eyes. And I remember one night, right before Christmas of 2019, it kind of been brewing for a week, and I've been thinking about what this guy Elijah was talking about, and everything was making sense. It was like I was hearing all these things I've heard a million times, but for the first time. And I went into my room and shut the door and just got down on my knees, and I just cried out to God, and I just basically surrendered. I remember like physically almost like I just stopped running, because I had been running like almost against him for so long, and I felt so intensely that he was just calling me to himself, and it was amazing and irresistible, really. I just could not resist it, and I just put my faith in Jesus. I remember just saying like I believe that he died, and I finally understood that it wasn't just, oh, Jesus died for my sins, some vague thing, but that he actually went to the cross and paid the debt that I myself, Samara Leland, owed to God, and absorbed every single ounce of wrath that I had earned on himself, and then that he was the way to eternal life, that life was only found in him, not in the striving and the things that I was seeking after. And then my whole life changed like instantly. I remember like going to bed that night just like weeping, because I was so peaceful, and having that burden of guilt that I carried from such a young age just washed off of me, that no one else in the world could ever do, though I tried seeking help in other people. And I just started reading the Bible like every day, and I was just so hungry for it, and God was just opening my eyes, and now it's been almost 3 years. And
wow, so good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Thanks so much, Samara. Appreciate that.
All right.